Shazam! Fury of the Gods has struck down into theaters and the reactions are pretty underwhelming. But is it a bad movie or is it just not what movie fans want right now? Let's talk about it. What's up everyone and welcome back to Jones Vibes. If you're new to my channel, I talk about all things movies and television and I'll try to keep from dragging on. And Shazam! Fury of the Gods is finally here, and a quick warning, I'm gonna be talking spoilers. But I had the chance to go and check this out and it's the sequel to a movie that I liked. I didn't love the first Shazam, but I enjoyed it enough to at least be curious about this second one. This is another one of those movies that's been delayed for a long time, and so the hype train kinda died. Not to mention the marketing has really not been so good. But as you probably now know, James Gunn and Peter Safran are the new heads of DC Studios, and Gunn recently unveiled a bit of their first slate of projects coming out. It's basically a full reset, although there are some characters sticking around. It's confusing, but it has put this year's slate of movies in a kind of interesting situation. We have Shazam, we have Blue Beetle, we have The Flash, we have Aquaman 2. And to be honest, the only one that I'm really looking forward to is The Flash, because apparently it's amazing, but it also ties into this reset, so that's interesting. But Shazam and Aquaman, I just don't know. And not to say that everything has to tie into everything, because that's simply not the case. The Joker didn't, and the Batman didn't. When a movie is good, it speaks for itself, but this just didn't look that good. But I did it, guys. I did it, and I went and I gave it a shot, and it was pretty bad. And I know that's kind of rare for me to say that here on Jones Vibes, and so I want to elaborate on what I mean by bad. I don't think that this was terrible for a popcorn, lighthearted flick, but for a DC film, that's just not what I'm looking for. It doesn't hold up. Movies like this are a part of the DCEU's downfall, among a lot of other things, but it just feels like a weird attempt at trying to be Marvel. And that's not what DC needs to be. But I want to talk about the positives and negatives of this film, in my opinion. The story is basically about the daughters of Atlas seeking to avenge their father. Shazam accidentally unleashed them when he snapped the magic staff at the end of the first movie, and so now they're here, and Shazam and his friends have to stop them. And as for the positives, I'd say the villains weren't bad, and it's interesting because it's not so much the characters that were appealing to me, it was just the actresses. Like, it seemed like they were having a good time, and so I was happy for them. I was happy for Helen Mirren and Lucy Liu and Rachel Zegler. And Rachel Zegler was actually a part of kind of my real and biggest positive from this film. Her and Jack Grazer. I found myself wishing that I wasn't watching a superhero film anymore and that I was just watching a teen drama or something with them, because they were really giving a great performance and they had a lot of chemistry together. But also, Jimon Hinsu as the Wizard was and is a blast. Since Gladiator, that dude has been one of my favorite actors, and so I'll support him in anything, but outside of that, yikes, man. I just wasn't a big fan of any of the adult heroes or Shazammed heroes, and I hate to say it, but especially Zachary Levi. I don't know if it was the writing or just the way he was playing it, but I found that his character was just so empty and dry and weird. I mean, I enjoyed the first one because it was like the fish out of water story, and the way it was played was new and interesting, but I felt like instead of adding more to that character, they dialed up the young teen humor to like 1,000%, and it just didn't work for me. And it's a shame because the movie is about his character, and when he was on screen, I found myself just wanting to see anybody but him. I don't know if anybody else felt like that out there, but it was kind of getting on my nerves because I was like, man, I want to like his character, but it's just didn't click. But I think some of the fantastical and magical elements were fun, and I enjoyed the realm that the sisters were from, and kind of getting to explore that a bit, but when those elements were mixed with the real world, like the Cyclops and the unicorns, it was interesting, but I'm just not sure if it worked or not. What did work was that dragon. That thing was really unique. It was like made of wood, and I liked the fact that it basically pulls you in and brings all of your fear to the surface. I just thought that was cool. One would say it was fire, but the movie did take a turn for me when, spoiler alert, Shazam dies. That raised the stakes quite a bit for me, and so then I was thinking, well, if they are doing kind of a reset thing, this is a great way to send off his character. But it was quickly taken back by the cheesiest scene in the entire movie. They're having a funeral for him and his body is buried, and they're like, there are no gods left. And then somebody, a voice echoes in the distance, there's still one. And it's Wonder Woman! Whoa! And I don't know, I feel bad for criticizing this so much, but that's what I mean about this new DC slate having a bit of an impact on this. There might be a world out there where I could be sitting and watching this movie and that happened, and I'm like, oh my gosh. But since I know it's really not going anywhere, it ended up just being more of an eye roll. Something did happen in the theater for me though, right around this time, and I wanted to highlight it because it had a bit of an impact on me. There was a couple kids sitting farther down the row from me, and they were watching the movie with their grandmother. And as I was sitting back, kind of rolling my eyes like, it's Wonder Woman, I looked over and both these kids were absolutely hyped. And it was a moment that really brought me back down to earth, because I would imagine 7, 8, 9-year-old me sitting in the theater probably would have been over the moon about Wonder Woman walking on screen. But unfortunately, Jones Vibes is now all grown up. But it was an interesting experience, and it kind of put things into perspective for me a bit. But that's kind of all I have to say on this movie. There were 2 post-credit scenes. The first one maybe having future implications. It might tie into the Waller series if they decide to bring Shazam back. They gave him an offer to join the Justice Society, and yeah. We'll see. And then the second one, which I was actually the only person who stayed in the theater for this second post-credit scene, but it was Dr. Savannah from the first movie locked in prison, and he talks with Mr. Mind, the alien worm, and it's basically setting up a third movie. And like I just said, I don't know. I guess we'll see where all this goes. I highly doubt we're gonna get a third movie, so. But as always, I do have to do my star rating of this movie, and it might be a rough one. I'm giving Shazam! Fury of the Gods 2 out of 5 stars, no doubt. I'm sorry, but it just wasn't my bag, baby. But that's not to say that it wasn't yours. Maybe you loved this film, and if you did, I'm very happy for you. Film is subjective. Everybody has their own experiences, so please let me know what you thought down in the comments. Also, if you enjoyed this video, please go ahead and give it a like and show your support. It's a totally free way to do it, and I would really appreciate it. I have a ton more content on the way, so subscribe if you haven't. And yeah, the DC universe is heading in a new direction, so will Shazam be left in the dust or taken along for the ride? I guess we'll see.
Jones Vibes.